Hello everyone. My today video recording is related to the integration of D-Link DGS 3630 switch with Cisco ISE, and I will use the 802.1x authentication method, the port-based the 802.1x authentication method. Actually, in my lab, as you can see, my 802.1x PC is connected to port number 3, and the Cisco ISE is installed on my VMware, and it is connected to Ethernet 1/1, the port Ethernet 1/1 on the switch. So the topology is pretty simple. First of all, I will show you the parameters let me show you the Cisco ISE, which version I am using. So ping 10.90.90.90, this is my switch, D-Link switch default IP address. Later on we will change the IP address according to a topology, and let me show you the parameters of the Cisco ISE. So as you can see, I'm using Cisco ISE Identity Service Engine version 2.4 in my video, and the host name is Cisco-ISE. Okay, so let's proceed with the configuration part. First on the Identity Service Engine. So as you can see, this is the Cisco ISE login page. So I will use my credential to log into the Cisco ISE. As you know that the D-Link is not registered D-Link is not registered in the vendor list of the Cisco ISE. So we will upload the radius dictionary to the Cisco ISE. So I will show you from the scratch again how to upload the dictionary as a third-party vendor. So you have to go to policy. Under the policy you have to choose dictionary, and under the dictionary you have to expand the system. Under the system you will find this radius option and radius vendors. So as you can see, we are not listed here, the D-Link is not listed here. So we will import the D-Link's dictionary into the Cisco ISE. I will just click on browse, and I will just go to my computer, and as you can see, here is the dictionary, import, and OK. So as you can see, the dictionary is imported. So you just click on it. You can just verify the details, and also if you need some additional attributes, you can add the attributes manually here. So that's it for the dictionary part. Okay, so let's proceed to the further step, which is the network device profile creation. So we will create a network device profile. As you can see, all the other vendors are listed here, but we have to create our device profile manually. So we'll just click on add, and I will just type D-Link profile, D-Link profile. Okay, so vendors, I will just choose other here, and radius and tagx, and I will just choose this D-Link option, or either if you don't need tagx, you can just disable the tagx. Okay, so what next you have to do, we are not going to touch this part. Okay, and we will just enable the process method as a check password in this. Now permission. So we are doing 802.1x lab, so we will use this set VLAN, and we will enable this IETF 802.1x attribute here. The rest of the things will remain same. I'm not going to touch anything. Okay, and I will just click on submit. Okay, you can verify it by going inside, and you can see all other things are selected. Nothing is selected except this and except this permission. That's it. So network device group, under the network device group I have only two zones, the testing lab and the D-Link switches. Okay, so this is device type and this is location. So if you want, you can make accordingly according to your requirement. So network devices, so I will add my device, means my NAS device. So my NAS device is my D-Link switch, DGS 3630 model, and the IP address I'm going to use in my exercise is 36. Okay, and then I will select my D-Link profile here, device profile, which we created in previous step. Location, testing lab, IPsec, I will just say no. All devices type, D-Link switches, and I will just enable the radius method here. So I'll just make it D-Link 123. Okay, this is D-Link 123, the radius shared key, and just click on submit. Okay, so the device is registered. Now we will create the users. So I'll just create a user, and I will just create two user here, and I will just make it as a wide user and password. And here I will assign him a group of all accounts default. Okay, wide user, and I am going to create one more user as a V36. So default one, and I will just make him as all accounts default. Submit. So as you can see, I have two users. Number one is this wide user, and the second is V36. Okay, now we will create our policy set. So under the result, the default protocols you can verify here. As you can see, all default protocol is enabled. If you need some kind of additional parameters, you can enable disable from here. Okay, so I'm not going to change the default protocol. Regarding authorization profile, I will just create authorization profile, and I will just make one normal profile, which is D-Link AUTHZN, and I will just make it profile. Sorry. I'm sorry. D-Link AUT authorization profile. Access method is access accept, and I will just choose my D-Link profile here, and I'm not going to touch anything here. This is just a default simple profile. Okay, and now I will create one more profile to push the VLAN details. Okay, like dynamic VLAN assignment. So I will just create one more profile, D-Link AUTHZN, and I will just make it as V36. So what we will do next, we will just make it as D-Link profile, and under this common task we will push the VLAN information. So we will just make it as 15, and we will just make it as 15. Okay, and that's it. Submit. So the difference between this normal profile is just a normal method, the radius authentication. There is nothing special. Okay, and this in V36, when the V36 user get login on the switch, he will receive this a dynamic VLAN assignment. Sorry, instead of 15, I will just make it as 36, because the username is V36. So I will just make it V36. Sorry, so V36. Okay, so this V36 user will receive the VLAN 36. So we are going to push the VLAN 36 information after the successful authentication, A22.1x authentication. Using this the authorization profile, he will receive the VLAN 36. Okay, he will receive that dynamically, the VLAN 36. So let's create our policy. As you can see, this is the default policy, and under the default policy, as you can see, wide map and all these kind of information. Okay, so I'm not going to touch any kind of default information. As you can see, the default authorization profile is this one, and it is deny access. So I will create my own profile. As you want to see, you can just check, you can expand this, and you will see the information here. As you can see, flow type only. Okay, and that's it. So we will create our own profile, don't worry. We will create a profile with the name of DGS 3630. Okay, and we will use the default protocol. And what we can do, we will use this condition library, okay, which is already available, predefined, and I will just click on use, and I will just click on save. Okay, and then I will expand this policy, and it will check for the default ID store. Okay, so if authentication fail, continue, and user not found, reject. So I just change this parameter. Okay, now we will create the authorization profile. So we will create our authorization profile rule 1. So we'll use the parameter of internal user. So if internal user name is equal to what? Void user. Okay, then if void user and radius NAS IP. So we will use the radius parameter here, and NAS IP address is 10.90.90.36. Then if internal user is void user and the NAS IP is 10.90.90.36, what you have to do, you have to just assign the DLINK authorization profile. Okay, then we will create one more policy here, insert through above, the second rule. Now we will say if internal user name is equal to what? v36, the one we created in previous step, then what you have to do, and the NAS IP address, the radius NAS IP address parameter, we'll just use radius parameter, radius NAS IP address, then 10.90.90.36. okay, then if user is v36 and the NAS IP address is this, then which profile? I am going to push the VLAN information, the VLAN authorization profile. So I will just push this VLAN 36. As you can see, there are two different VLAN. For void user, he will just push the normal authorization profile, and for v36 user, he will push this VLAN 36 tag information. So this is my two authorization profile. I will just click on save. Successfully created. Let me show you again. The normal method is void 802.1x default authentication protocol, and the ID stores are the internal ID store of CISCO ISE. And under the authorization, if void user and NAS IP is 36, he will receive authorization profile, and if the user is v36, he will receive the v36, mean the VLAN 36 tag, and this ISE will automatically dynamically will assign the VLAN 36 to the user. This is the only ISE part. That's it. I will go to enable this operation logs. Okay, and I will bring you the console window. Hold on. Now we will apply the configuration on D-Link switch. I am connected via console to the switch. So let me show you first the default configuration. Show run. Show run. As you can see, it's in the default configuration, there is nothing, and show IP interface brief. Okay, so let's proceed with the NAS changing the IP address information. Interface VLAN 1, IP address 10.90.90.36, because we use this NAS IP address in ISE, so that's why I change it to 36. Okay, no shut, exit. Now we will enable the password. We will change the password for enable mode. So enable password. Okay, password is changed. Username, I will just create a normal user on the switch, the root user, like for example in the switch internal database. So I will assign him privileges 15 and password. Okay, now we will enable the console method, console, and password, login, line, telnet, password, login, exit. That's it. Now we will create VLAN 36 only, exit. So if you see, now I have two VLANs, VLAN 1 and VLAN 36. I didn't assign any ports to the VLAN 36. Okay, just note this point. Later on when we are doing verification, I will come back to this point again. Okay, all ports, as you can see, is in VLAN 1. They are in VLAN 1. Now I will enable AAA new model. AAA new model, enable radius server host. The host is the IP address of the ISE is 50, and the key that we assigned during the device registration is DLINK 123. Okay, now AAA group server radius, and the host name, the CISCO ISE host name that I show you in start, which was CISCO-ISE. Now server is 10.90.90.50, and IP radius, source interface VLAN 1. Okay, that's it. Now what we will do, we will enable the .1x globally. So .1x system auth control, this command will enable .1x method globally on the switch. Now AAA authentication, .1x default group. Which one? We will use this default group as CISCO, and then if CISCO ISE is not reachable, move to local. Okay, and AAA authentication for login. Okay, for login to default group radius and then local. Okay, now we will enable the .1x on the port, the switch port. So in my case is port number 3. So authentication, host mode, multi-host, and .1x by authenticator. No shut, exit. That's it. This is the configuration of the switch. So let me show you all details again. Show VLAN. As you can see, the VLAN 36 is created. Now we will go to running config. So show run. Let me show you again. As you can see, AAA new model, the host is this, group is created, source is VLAN 1, server is 9050. For .1x, it will move to CISCO ISE first and then local. And for the authentication locally, the group is radius and then local. Enable password is, I didn't enable the encryption, so just to show you. So as you can see, the enable password and root user, console password, telnet password, and .1x globally is enabled. And then as you can see, this port 3 is acting as my .1x authentication port, and as you can see, the VLAN, this is 10.90.90.36. okay, so let's verify. Let's start our verification, our first verification using the what do you call, using the telnet method. Let's ping from my PC that I can reach to the switch or not. Yeah, I have a reachability to the switch. So let's enable telnet. Let's verify telnet. So 10.90.90.36, and I will use a wide user here. Wide user, default one A. Enable password. Okay, so if I show you show radius, as you can see on the left side, we have a log. show radius statistics. As you can see, request, we have one request and request is accepted. Okay, now there is one more command which is show user. As you can see, there is one user who's having a telnet session using a wide user and it's have a 15 privileges level, and this is my PC IP address. So as you can see, this wide user is using authentication policy default. Default mean is using the internal database, and authentication access. Authorization profile is permit access, and is using the local identity group. Okay, and the network device 3630, server is ICE, IP is from this PC, and let me show you the detail logs. Authentication is succeeded and the username is this one, and you can see this is the radius logs. Okay, for wide user, this one. Now there is one more like procedure, like let's proceed with the wide user console. Right, I am on console, right? Let me show you from the beginning. So this is session. Let me connect my serial session com5. The default port rate is 115200. Okay, enter. Okay, no problem, we will just wait for a while. No worries. What we will do till now, we will try again. Maybe it skipped this timer or not. Okay, no problem, it's goes into the blocking state. No problem, let me show you my 802.1x authentication. Okay, so this is my Ethernet, this is my authentication, the PC LAN. So let's let's verify. So for this for 802.1x, what else you have to do on the computer? You have to enable the services. You have to go to services, and under the service, hold on, yeah, under the service you have to enable the wide service. As you can see, this one, you have to start this service. By default it is off. As you can see, wide auto config services responding to 802.1x authentication on Ethernet interface. So by default this service is in stop state. You have to go to properties, and you have to make it automatic and then start, and as you can see the service is running. This is the first step you have to do. Then for the you have to come to your Ethernet port. You have to click on the properties. Under the properties you have to enable authentication. As you can see, authentication is enabled. You can perform all other verification here. As you can see, there is nothing special. Now I will click on the additional settings, and as you can see, I have the method of user authentication, so I have to choose this, and I will put my username as V36. Okay, okay, okay. So my user is having authentication right now. Let's verify here. Let me have Telnet. Okay, show users. Now okay, wide user is authenticated, and I think I have something wrong. Okay, status, and what I have done. Let's troubleshoot. Show authentication session. No. PC LAN properties. Additional is user. Let's replace our V36 DEFAULT1A. It's trying to connect. I think there is something wrong with my policy, so you don't have to worry about it. No problem, we'll fix it. Okay. It's trying to communicate, but it's not authorizing. Okay, let's check our policy hits. Maybe something is wrong here. So refresh. Okay, over something is wrong because it's going to the default policy. Authentication policy. It's having endpoints wide. Okay, so it's using this policy. What I will do, I will just delete this policy. Okay, and I will just delete also this one. And save. This is my default policy, and I disable the authentication. I disable the wide method. Now let's verify that over this new policy will get hits or not. Okay, show authentication session, nothing. I'm sorry. And disable and enable. As you can see, my authentication VLAN is 1, and authentication username is this one. Okay guys, and as you can see, the user is authenticated. Now let's verify our policy. Let's see, do we have hits? Yes, we have hits here. Default everything is denied. Wireless, 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 wide, wide, wide. Okay, this one, this policy's got hits. So what we will do, we will not use this policy. We will disable this, and network access authentication, we will just enable it and on. Sorry, cancel. I will save the default policy. Sorry I make you confused. No problem, I will fix things. So because this our new policy is not getting hits, so what I will do, I will just change this parameter here. I will just disable this, yes, and I will just make it device radius device, and I will just make it as, sorry, not IPsec, location, device location. I will just make it as testing lab, and I will just make it use, and then I will create my authentication policy under the same. So same policy, I will just make it as wired2.1x. I will just make it use, and I will just make it as internal user or all ID stores, and then let's see the authorization, and I will modify this. I will just add more and more attribute. Network, where is network access authentication, authentication status is equal to past. Okay, and I will just click on save. Now after modifying this policy, now this policy should receive hits because it's moving to the default policy. Now we should receive the hits on this policy. Okay, let's verify it again. I will close this and I will enable and just disable, and I will just click on enable. Connection lost, no problem. Telnet and void user enable. So show authentication session. As you can see, before it was showing something else. Before it was not showing the information of VLAN assigned VLAN 36. It was getting the VLAN 1 authentication only. Now we have the assigned VLAN S VLAN 36. Okay, and this authentication is successful. So mean our radius authentication using 802.1x port based method is successful, and also we achieve our dynamic assignment VLAN method. As you can see, the VLAN is dynamically assigned. Now before I was telling you that I have created the VLAN on the switch, and as you can see, before everything was in VLAN 1. Now you can see the port number 3 is part of the VLAN 36. Okay, and there is one more method, show radius statistics. As you can see, there was 2 time rejects, there is a 5 time accept, and there is a request methods. Okay, now there was one, let me show you that over before it was hitting over other policy, the default policy. Now over this policy should receive hits. As you can see, the policy that we have created, it got 2 hits. So let me show you the policy again. If this is the policy name, location is testing lab, allow him the default network access, but using the authentication method Wired.2.1x, and I want to use this default identity store, means the internal identity store. So it use the internal identity store. Now let's see this authorization. As you can see, the wide user, the only wide user is having access to the D-Link device, the D-Link switch, but over this one the user V36 have this V36 VLAN tag information. Let me show you this authorization profile, guys, again to you. Okay, this is the V36. Again I will show you where I created this authorization profile. Under the policy and results, this is my authorization profile for V36. This is my authorization profile. So what we have done, we push the VLAN information. We push this VLAN tag using this authorization profile. So our user is successfully authenticated, and as you can see, our user received the VLAN 36. Assigned VLAN is VLAN 36. Okay, guys, this was a small troubleshooting and also a very good exercise. Hope you will enjoy, and maybe you will receive some kind of hits in between. Maybe sometime it will hit your default policy or something, so no need to worry about it. Just verify your policy and see it is working for you or not. If is it not working, then must comment on my video. I will get back to you. Okay, and one thing more, let me show you my firmware on the switch, so at least you will have show version. As you can see, I'm using 2.24 firmware, and hardware version is A2, and my switch model is DGS 3630. Hope you like the exercise, hope you enjoy it, and let me show you the logs of radius logs. As you can see, the V36, as you can see, it received the authorization rule 2. Rule 2 is the V36 authorization profile here, as you can see, and default account store. And let me show you the logs. Sorry, it's refreshing. So as you can see, successful, This is my PC MAC address of my PC, and this is my v36 username. And as you can see, the authentication method is .1x. Okay, and where we define this user, it is in the internal user database of CISCO ISE. Okay, and you can see the policy server is CISCO ISE. Now you can see this is the NAS IP address 36. Which port? This is the port 3 on the switch. Which profile? v36 profile. Okay, and as you can see other details here. Hope as you can see, this is the tunnel type, and we push the VLAN 36. So mean everything is perfect. Everything is perfect. You can make your own lab and you can test this, and if you face any issue, just get back to me. Let's have a web login. Web login using the wide user default. Sorry, the switch IP address is 36. It's not 90 anymore. 36. Wide user. As you can see, my wide user can log into the switch. Okay, as you can see, my wide user. Now what else was not working? The console session, right? We did some wrong attempts, so let's verify our console again. Wide user, enable. Okay, show users. Right now, where we have this wide user is logged in via console. It is logged in via Telnet, and it is also logged in via wide user using wide username from the PC. Okay, so from web it's have a privileges 1, but from the Telnet it's have a privileges of 15. This one you can check later on. The privileges, I will make another videos for privileges escalation, and I will get back to you with another video. Okay, and let me show you radius statistics here. As you can see, this is request and accept 7 times. Show authentication session again from the console. As you can see, the authentication VLAN is 1, success, VLAN 36 as a username, assigned VLAN is v36, method state, as you can see 802.1x, and the user is authenticated. Thank you guys, thank you for watching my videos. Please kindly like and subscribe, and must comment. If you face any issues, please kindly get back to me and I will reply you. Thank you, bye bye.